Welcome to another episode of the Irreplaceable Dental Team. Today's episode is a little different. We're going to have two special guests, and we're operating under the theme, Doing Good is Good Business. Most of us in the corporate world have some philanthropic hand, and we just want to share with two persons who have dedicated their lives to serving folks who really need someone to pay attention to them. The first guest is Mr. Robert Dixon. Welcome, Robert. How are you doing today?
Thank you, Doc. I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me here.
Well, we would want to hear a little bit about you and what you do and where you do it. I'm very familiar with you, but I'm so delighted that you can share your story with my guests.
Well, yes, thank you. Well, my name is Robert Dixon, and I am the principal of Operation Restoration Christian School. It's a private school in Trenchtown that caters to youth 12 to 17 with literacy and numeracy deficiencies that have kept them out or have set them behind in the traditional education system. You know, a large number of young people, between 40 to 50% every year, they sit PEP and they are to enter high school, and 40 to 50% of them are not academically ready for high school. So their instructional level, the level that they take instruction at, is far below the grade 7 level. And we cater to students who, from this cohort, we cater. So most of our students that we take in every year are really between a grade 1 to grade 4 level. So that's the level that they are instructional at. But they would have gone into high school and received instruction at a grade 7 level and would have been continued. They would be left behind as they were in primary school. So that's who we cater to. The government has set up some schools with a remedial program that can help these students. We have been doing this for 30 years, as you know, catering to these students and seeing great success as we do.
Well, I'm so glad that Operation Restoration Christian School really saw the gap and sought to fill the gap. Now, we have international listeners, so let me just clarify a few things. In Jamaica, we start high school at what other people deem as junior high. So the 7th grade is when they begin high school. And so to enter, we do an entrance exam nationally. And when our kids don't measure out, then a lot of times the options for them are slim to none. So we're so glad for those who consider themselves gap fillers, and Operation Christian School, Operation Restoration Christian School is one such gap filler led by Mr. Robert Dixon. So I have a quick question for you. I know you serve students between the ages of 12 and 17 with literacy and numeracy deficiencies. This is the age group where they fall out of school and they may join gangs and their life just goes in a totally different trajectory. So I want to know, what's the one moment that convinced you that accelerated learning isn't just about grades, but about restoring a young person's pride?
Oh, the one time. Well, there's been so many times. I think that one time that I have been really moved, and it's not just a young person, it's a whole family. There was a young man that came to our school, as you said, came from primary school, did the entrance exam. He wasn't ready for high school, at his grade 7, his mother brought him to our school, and he was reading he came to us barely reading. So a grade 1 student could read better than he could. And I remember his mother came. His mother, she was visually impaired. She could see, she could operate, but she couldn't read. She couldn't sit to read. She couldn't see that well. Still can't see that well. And so she needs help on the road. And she went on the road with him after nearly a year at her school. And he was reading for her. Mm-hmm. And she could believe it. She was reading the documents for her because she thought that she had to bring him because he was 13 at the time, and she never wanted to leave him at home alone. And she would have to struggle to see. And he read everything for her. And she came back to us crying, saying she cannot believe that her son can read. And you don't, that's one that really sticks out in my mind, because he really went on to achieve good things at our school. And but it shows that the pride that can be restored, not just for the child, but in the life of the parents. He said in an interview, he got 80% in a test, and he said in Patois, he said, "Me never get them grades yet in my life." And so because these students, they were left behind for different reasons. Obviously, with his mother, she couldn't read to him as she would want to. She couldn't help him to give him that foundation. So he went into school behind. And it was not his fault. But now that he's been taught at a level that he is instructional at, he started to thrive. Because he was in primary school and he was being left behind, continually left behind, but being taught at that level, starting to thrive, built his confidence. He went on to Gainstead High School and was making such a great difference there. I used to hear about, my wife teaches there at Gainstead, and all the teachers loved this young man. Unfortunately, his father had a mental breakdown and stopped being a provider. And the whole school, Gainstead, was in tears because he decided to drop out to get a job to support his family. Very unfortunate situation. But we're still in contact, and he's still trying to go back to school now, and trying to, get things back on track. But he could have gone on if he had the support he needed. He really could have gone on to college, or to really be a trailblazer for our school.
So what I absolutely love about that story is the restoration. You call yourself restoration. You restored a mom's hope. You restored her sight indirectly through her son's ability to read. You restored his confidence. And I would venture to say he has paused. And he has recognized that the first time he met a little adversity, and Operation Restoration Christian School helped him to overcome that. And I hope that he'll look back to that and recognize that he can do it again. And it's awesome that you are in contact with him still, because you never outgrow encouragement.
That's right.
So, oh gosh, that's such a heartwarming story. Listen, I did not come here to cry, so just I see that as my eyes, because as a mom, when you think your child is limited and then you look around and see how they have just superseded your expectations, in his case being able to read so well, it goes straight to the heart, and it warms the heart indefinitely. So Robert, I know that your goal is 50% of each child leaving high school to leave with at least 3 CXC subjects. Now that's bold, but what's the most unexpected barrier your students face that a traditional school ignores? And how could a volunteer or mentor help remove that?
Yes, well, there's so many barriers. The really, as a private school, one of the things that we're able to do is to keep our class sizes small.
Okay.
There are a large number of students in the community who are not reading at the area, the right level, at their age level, right? And because there's no structure in the community, there's no structure for the physical structures that children can stay inside and really feel comfortable. They're always on the road. The breakdown of the family is evident, with a large number of single parent households, and the single mother household usually is the household with only one income, right? And so you find that there's no structure, there's no accountability for the child. And so the home is a non-factor. Homework is not a factor. You don't get homework. But for us to be able to provide an atmosphere, right? An environment where the child can really learn and learn at the pace that they feel comfortable at is a big thing. The children will say to us that the biggest impact is that the teachers do not move on until they understand. Mm-hmm. And so we move at the child's pace, right? And in the traditional system, you can't do that, right? But you have to move on because the curriculum has to be finished, has to be completed. And so we move at their pace, and we're able to, no man must be left behind, right? And because we don't get any support at home, we really have to double down at school, and having that small environment really helps with that. And even in that small environment, you still find that it's easy for children to get left behind, even with 10 children in that class, So volunteers can help to come in and read with our children. I've had, a church leader from England, from the Church of England in Manchester. He took a sabbatical with his wife and came down and sat in our level 1, the lowest class, for over a month, just helping, right? helping to keep the children calm, helping to, help them to understand, working with some of the weaker students. That's what he did for over a month, right? Which was, so those children are still at school. They would be leaving next year, but they still remember him, they still remember him, and ask for him. So that's available. We still need help in the class. So that's one way. These children need help, just mentorship, help with organizing themselves. There's nobody to help organize the child, so that it has to be the teacher's responsibility too, to ensure that they have one book for each subject, right? They never learned. I remember telling them they need to go home and study. You need to go home and study. Everybody must study. And when I took up one of their exercise books, math on one page, language on the next page, science on the next, they can't study because the notes are all over the place. Yeah. And so, even a mentor to come in and help, to make sure they're organized, make sure to bring some sort of structure to them. After school programs are important, So those are some of the ways that you can assist. One of our best years at school was when we got some funding for an after-school program. Right, so the students would leave at 2 and they would come back at 4, and they would would go through their homework with them. Whatever they were weak at, we would, go through with them, and would give them a meal at the end. And that was one of our best years academically.
So what I hear you saying, Robert, it really doesn't take a lot. Meaning you don't have to have any special skills.
No.
You just have to have a heart that have a desire to pour into these children. Because it can be that you take some vacation time and you spend some one-on-one, or it can be that after work, maybe you could volunteer. If we could get some funding going for aftercare, help with homework and feeding. There are just so many ways people could support if they only had the presence of mind. So thanks for sharing that with our guests, because even if people aren't here locally, what is happening with you and your community and your school is not unique to your community.
Yes.
And if people have a heightened awareness that they can make a difference, you'd be surprised to know. So I know that you use sports, skills development and the arts alongside with academics. Can you share a specific story, or maybe more than one story, about a student who was failing in every way but found their identity again through a non-academic program, and how that changed their classroom behavior?
Yes, so that happens often. I've seen children grow in confidence. I have a young man working with me now that was at our school up until 2021, and he grew. You could see him. He played football, did soccer, and there was a maturity that he brought. He was on our team for 2 years prior, but there's a maturity that came with him at, I think it was around 15, and you could see it in the football field, and he was able to be captain of our team and express himself well there, and that came over into his schoolwork. Right now we also do robotics. We do Lego League robotics.
What?
Right? Yes, man. And what's significant too is, I'm looking at children in a robotics program that would not have been selected at their primary school. They would not have been selected to represent their school, but they have a chance here in a different environment. So there was a particular young man that came from a difficult situation. I mean, this is how difficult it was. He was absent from school for a couple of days in the week. And I was like, what happened? He only had one uniform for himself and his brother. And his brother would go to school Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and he'd go to school the rest of the time. And that's what it was. They would share the uniform. They would share the one uniform, and that had been happening because he was absent frequently. That was happening without us knowing, we eventually helped to change that situation, to get another uniform. But so he came from a rough environment, and I was really afraid I was losing him to the environment, to the music and to the gangs and stuff like that. And then he found robotics, and he would continually. He was always a smart boy, cognitively smart, could figure out things, right? But struggled with reading, right? But I did teach him to just take your time and go through the work. Take your time, and he would read the passages and answer questions, but it would just take him longer to do so. But in robotics, he found, what other students, in terms of programming, what other students would struggle with, he would figure out how to make the robot turn, how the robot can do a U-turn, a 360, what we have to do. He was just excellent, naturally excellent at that. And so we entered the Lego League's robotics tournament, and we did well, and it was him. He just took the role, he just took control. He just took control, and they give you 3 runs to complete, to get as many points as you can by completing obstacles, getting the robot to complete different obstacles. And on our second run put us in 3rd place, right? And it was really all because of him. Unfortunately, in our last run wasn't as good. We were hoping to improve more, but two teams passed us. One came from nowhere to win, right? On their last run. But that gave him a new level of pride, a new level, that just took him to a new level. And so that's one of the stories that I will still do it today. We still have students in the robotics program that they never got a chance.
Yes.
But this is their redemption.
What I love about what you've just shared is people don't realize that you're building skills that help you in the classroom when you're on the playing field. Like the first person, he learned leadership skills on that field. And he knew that he had to communicate in such a way that his team members could get what needed to happen to win. So when you translate that to the classroom, the confidence that you probably gained from being on that soccer field translated to more confidence in the classroom and confidence to speak up, communicating well.
That's right.
You're practicing.
Because you practice it out there. And that's right.
But
that's
what is the crux of the matter now is the fact that we don't know what our students' giftings are. And until we tap the right button,
we
never know. So this young man was struggling with the traditional literacy and numeracy, but you gave him robotics and he came alive. Suddenly he can say to himself, nobody don't have to tell me, I know I'm good at this. And it takes to another level. So those two instances really are eye-openers. I'm not going to keep you too long because I know that you're pressed for time, but I want to ask you, your vision includes 2 profit-making businesses employing students and former students and parents, plus an employment program with leadership training. Based on that, what kind of sponsor or partner do you need to start the first business? And how does that directly reduce crime in undersourced communities?
That's an interesting question. In 2019, we were talking about a business that would have, that would be tourism related, and we got to it was a significant partnership with that we had at the time. And I'll tell you one-on-one what that was. Because there's still hope, but also, tourism was kind of booming at the time. In Kingston, there was a ship that was supposed, there was a ship to come to dock at Port Royal. The tourist board was interested in my idea, and then it kind of fell apart because COVID came, and then the connections fell apart, and so we still do have some ideas. We would need, I would need significant support from a board level, a board level support, right? That's the first thing I would need. It's still, so I do a lot on school on the day-to-day basis. So it would be a partner to come in to work alongside me. And that's why I say a strong board would be helpful. And do some more so that I can do more. My vision would be to see myself more as a CEO of Operation Restoration is a community development organization who has a school. We have a school. And the vision would be to say a principal of that school, and I operate at a different level. That's how we would move forward.
Okay. I'm glad
and with a strong board.
I'm glad you clarified that for us. So I know you work with students, families, and the whole community.
Yes.
And you have a vision for community growth, which includes a school. Now, if a listener wants to mentor one student for a year, what would you train them to do differently from a typical tutor? And what time commitment actually produces lasting change?
Well, I would teach them everything I do, and it's something we've been thinking about. I need to do more training. Is that it all starts with love. You have to have a heart of love and compassion. These students are not easy to deal with, right? They take patience, they take forgiveness, they take a lot out of you. And so one of the things with a mentor needs to know that they use every opportunity to teach, right? A mentor would need to know that for the period of time that you're with a child, that they are the center of your attention, I stop what I'm doing. My door is open to my students, and oftentimes I stop what I'm doing to listen and to care for. And that gives you influence. I believe that there are a lot of people that don't understand how to gain influence, and it is by putting the child, letting them know that they are the center, that they're important, to stop to listen, to ensure that you hear what they're saying, so that they feel heard and they feel understood and they feel respected, and to take opportunities to go out your way for them. That's how you gain influence, right? And even for a mentor, for mentors, even if you are a mentor and you have some rounds to do on the road, some chores to do, things to do on the road, and you take one of my students with me, just to observe. Part of mentorship is observing how you deal with people on the road, observing how you do business, just observing. And so you don't even have to have all the words to say. You don't have to have all the right questions. You can allow them, if you're willing to allow them to observe how you deal with situations, they will learn so much from that. And they will have questions.
You've opened our eyes to so many things this morning, not just from a support financially point of view, or being there physically to mentor or so, but also showing us how the little things, the little discoveries make a big difference. We know that for ourselves, but you've opened our eyes to how much it can impact the trajectory of a young person's life. I've kind of hugged the conversation, but I wondered if there was anything that you wanted to leave us with, anything that I may not have touched on that you would love to share with our viewers today.
Well, I would say for us here at Operation, supporting us, supporting our school, working alongside our school, you're working with an organization that has a student at the center of everything that they do, that we do. They're at the center of what we do. I am, this year our theme is Students on the Rise. And I invite you to come and visit us, to come and visit and meet our students on the rise. Meet our students that were struggling, that nobody thought could reach anywhere, but they are rising up. Allow them to give you a tour of the school. Allow them to express, how the school has impacted them. I believe that they are going so much. I believe that, I fall in love with the theme, Students on the Rise. And we've had themes every year, but the themes that we've had never spoke to who they were. And so I believe that everything that we do needs to speak to who these children are and to give them a different perception of themselves. And so every time I tell them, you always introduce yourself as a student on the rise. And so, they would come to you, my name is so-and-so and I'm a student on the rise. And they're speaking into their lives. They're prophesying to themselves who they are and who they will be. And so, I just said, I invite you to come and come and support, come and assist us as we just seek to transform students so that they can transform others.
So this is my summary of wonderful conversation. Your students are recognized, restored, and encouraged to rise.
That's right.
Thank you. This has been awesome. I know you have another comment shortly.
Yes.
Thank you for your time. Well, if that wasn't awesome, I tell you, Robert Dixon has really been committed to those children, Operation Restoration Christian School, and by extension, the community. And just in case we forgot all the goodness that takes place when we just choose to love and to care, he reminded us in so many ways. Now we're going to shift a little bit. We're going to be speaking to someone else, Stephanie Lyle. She is making a powerful impact, but in a totally different way. So tune in and you'll see for yourself. And now we have another gem. Her name is Stephanie Lyle. Listen, when I say she's a mover and a shaker, that is on steroids, okay? But as we talk, it will become very evident to you why I have couched her that way. Welcome, Stephanie. How are you doing today?
Hello. Can I say Auntie Heather?
Say anything you want.
Good, because that's what I call you. So I'm doing great. How are you?
You know, I'm so happy that you could carve out a little time for us to share. So I'm doing fantastic. We brought you on because we know that doing good is good business. And this is all about encouraging professionals, entrepreneurs, anybody who can hear or see our podcast to understand how impactful it can be when we carve out a little philanthropic arm in our business. So can you tell us about your baby and who you support and why, and we'll take it from there.
No problem. I'll start with just, I am a big sister. I'm the eldest of 4 children, and I grew up with my parents, my siblings. For a good portion of my life, I also grew up with my grandmother who lived with us. So just to give you a little sense of young Stephanie, I attended, for high school, I went to Immaculate Conception High School and honed a lot of, some of the talents that I think, when I was in prep school or in elementary school, as others would know, there were signs of me being really good at things like singing and dancing and expression, self-expression, creative arts. By the time I went to high school at Immaculate, that space really carved a lot of opportunity again for me to express those talents, whether it was me singing with the choir or singing for competitions and dancing and cheerleading and just, all of these different stage-oriented platforms. And then I also joined a theater group called Jamaica Musical Theater Company. For the younger arm for that was Jamaica Junior Theater. And so I did years, like over a decade of productions, year after year, and progressed in that, with getting lead roles over the years. And I went straight into university while still being part of that company. And so those things really shaped my passions, and I would say they really helped me to cope with the challenges I had in life as well, during those formative years. When I went to university, I interestingly did not necessarily choose a career path that was directly in the arts, only because I felt like I wanted to expand my options and I still wanted to delve deep into other parts of me, So yes, I knew by this time I'm all for the arts, but I felt that there was also, other things about me to develop. And I pursued media and communication as a result. I mean, still pretty close, but it also just kind of widened my opportunity pool a little bit. And I interestingly chose a path that was offered at the time at my media and communication school, Caramac, which is at the University of the West Indies. We had this program or specialization called social marketing, which was the use of traditional marketing principles for commercial marketing, but for social causes. And that was a sweet spot for me. I knew at that point that social impact was important to me. I wanted to always be using my skills, my talents to address social issues, whether it was poverty or lack of education or lack of access to certain things, marginalization of different groups of people. I just knew that those were the things that I started to feel fired up about, while still loving very much the stage. Now, fast forward a few years, more than a few, a lot of years. I'm active still in that creative arts space, creative industry here in Jamaica. I'm a filmmaker, so I've kind of progressed through the stage to screen. So a lot of my work and a lot of the things that I am contemplating these days have to do with screen industries. And that's just been the direction life has taken me. But while that has been happening, as you know, I started an organization for girls and women. But it's just interesting that the start of my organization, Girls First International, really merged producing and starring in my first short film with an amazing team of people. All of that kind of merged at the same time that I launched Girls First. And yeah, here we are.
So tell us a little bit about Girls First.
Girls First International is an organization that has formed an ecosystem, so to speak, of resources for girls and women who are either at risk of victimization or those who have already been victimized. And our aim is to help them on that path to restoration. It's to connect them with resources that exist. We do the work of finding those resources, and it's really a case-by-case type of situation where we realize each person who has gone through any form of victimization kind of comes with their own unique needs. And there are some things that are mandatory, some course of action that we have to take that's more or less mandatory, especially when we're dealing with children. But for the most part, we do really have to work with each individual based on where they are at and where they want to be, in terms of holistic healing.
Right. So Steph, I know your vision is to promote a culture of honoring and protecting girls and women worldwide. Our guest earlier, Robert Dixon, talked about restoring dignity through education. What's one specific story of a girl you've worked with that shows why physical, psycho-emotional, and spiritual care, all three, are non-negotiable?
I really love that question because it really is a multi-pronged approach when you think about victimization. And the fact that Girls First International is a Christian-based organization, as well as I am a Christian, it then only follows naturally that a big part of our approach has to do with pointing girls and women and boys or whoever else may be, in our target, pointing them to Christ at the center of the approach, so we are based on biblical teaching principles, as well as we are drawing from the best state-of-the-art practices that are out there for medical, legal, all the different elements of restoration. So we I would say, let's say a particular case, I can point to a young woman who I would say represents the genesis of Girls First. She, at this point, she's like my sister, but she reached out to Girls First. Well, she reached out to me before Girls First existed.
Okay.
She saw me. Yeah, she saw me in a television series on where I played a reporter, and I just so happened to have been reporting on a case of rape, and in the series, I became friendly with a victim as well, and helped her. We were kind of on a mission, and so there's this actual visual representation now of me in this role, helping a woman who has been raped. And this little girl at 15 years old, watching the show, reached out to me on Facebook in real life, thinking that, hey, maybe I could be a safe space for her. At this point in time, I had absolutely no experience, no training, no idea how to reach out to, or how to help rather, someone who was reaching out to me to say, hey, I live in Westmoreland, and I have been going through this situation where I've been raped several times, by family members as well. And my mother has made me live with a man before who also was raping me. And I was astounded. I just didn't even know what to do. So I reached out to professionals that I know. I had reached out to a psychologist, my friend's mom, and she kind of guided me. And from there, honestly, Girls First formed, because now I realized God had clearly put me and this girl together for a reason. The first few things that happened was that I just became a friend in a sense, where I just became someone that she could share with. And eventually I started to find resources that I thought could help her, especially since we didn't live in the same parish. But the most I was able to offer her was just to be there, just to listen to her, just to offer some compassion. She had a very good talent for writing as well, so I encouraged her with her writing. She wrote beautiful poems, and I would just encourage her with her education. Very intelligent girl. And I mean, we just kind of continued throughout the years, and I'm very sad to say that even as she got older, there were more repeated acts of victimization that happened to her. So to answer the question, how does the psychosocial and the spiritual support come into play? I mean, for all the different things that I was able to offer her, counseling, I even had at one point accompanied her to file a report at the police when one of those incidents happened to her. And she happened to have been closer to me in terms of proximity. At that time, she was living in Kingston briefly. So I was able to help her in that way. We also, at some point in time, I managed to connect her with an organization where she was able to live with them. And they were also Christian based. She was able to start receiving some that type of environment that could help her develop and heal And so, yeah, those are some of the factors I think that made a difference in her life, and I mean has kept her alive. She's alive today. She's now a mother. Life is definitely still very much challenging for her, but I rejoice that she's alive. Honestly, she's alive, because that was not necessarily to be promised to her.
Yeah. Yes. Oh boy. I know that your outreach partners with schools and churches and organizations.
Right.
A vulnerable girl is identified, perhaps like the person you just mentioned or somebody else. What happens in the first 48 hours? And how can a volunteer or a sponsor make that window of time safe?
So there are a few factors to take into consideration. If it's a child, there are certain things that must be done. So once you know that a child, I mean, this is mandated by the law, once you know that a child is being abused in any way, whether sexually or otherwise, we are mandated to report that. And you can report anonymously, but it is important to report it so that the authorities are aware, and so that we can get that much closer to taking that victim out of that situation. Now, I'm not going to say that this reporting process is simple, or, well, I'm not there. Let me backtrack. The reporting process doesn't have to be complex, but we have to also bear in mind that it's not a perfect system. So there are flaws with the system, and that's just a reality that we have to face. It doesn't mean that we should not still report, because that can very much make the difference between a young girl being alive or dead from the victimization that she is subject to. So the first thing you want to do is if it's a child, report. But as you are, leading up to that process, you want to gather as much information as you can. So of course, before you can report anything, you would have had contact with the person, the victim, male or female. You would need to gather as much information as possible, and you want to try your utmost best to not be judgmental as you are listening. And what do I mean by that? When we start to ask certain questions while someone is sharing, things like, well, why you did go there, or why you wore that, or anything that could suggest that what has happened to the person might have been their fault, is not helpful in creating a safe space. So as much as we can, and it's not that those questions are invalid, it's just that it's not helpful necessarily, especially at the initial stage of sharing. So you just want to listen, and you start making your notes, whether mentally or otherwise. You're listening very carefully for details like where they were when this happened, what exactly happened to them. It's just very good to get clarity on, especially the what, and are they still in that position, that vulnerable position? Are they still in harm's way? Because that also informs the urgency of what needs to happen at this point, right? So if it's a child, report once you've gotten as much of those details as possible. In my previous experiences that where I've gone to make reports, there is if you are the first person that they've shared with, you will also have to give a statement to the police. Yes. So the victim gives a statement along with you as the person, if you are the first person that they have shared with. So that's something to prepare for. You may have to give a statement to the police, and then from there, it's in the police's hands, and this is where I will say the system is not perfect, because we don't have much control of what happens after you've made the report. And so the most I can advise at that point, after that is done, is that you connect this victim with resources like Girls First. So we are an organization that already has some form of network to, I can name a few, like Safe Spot, which is a counseling service that's free. And particularly for children. So it's a child helpline. And so if that child now is going to need to go through a course of counseling, which it's likely, I shouldn't even say if, that's a resource that they can utilize free of cost that is designed for them. So it's designed for anyone under 18 years old, where they get access to a counselor, and it's 24 hours. It's available for 24 hours. So that can be one first, course of action after reporting has happened. And then we have things like assessing each case individually. Is there going to need to be a lawyer involved? We are a nonprofit organization, so we don't necessarily have resources to pay for these services. So, of course, a big part of the organization is to connect with those who are offering some of these services, whether pro bono or, voluntarily. So depending on the needs of that person or the case, we may need to connect them to a lawyer, or they may need a doctor as well, depending on the severity of what has happened to them. And it's just so awful to even imagine, but it's true. They now might be dealing with medical issues as a result of the victimization they've either experienced once or multiple times, and then going back to if it's a child, the agencies that exist, the government agencies like CPFSA, Child Protection and Family Services Agency, they might need to be involved because perhaps the source of the abuse is the home. Right. And so now we need to perhaps relocate the victim, where should they go? Whether it will be with a family member or whether the state has to intervene. So these are, it's a lot, but these are some of the things that could very well, have to take place within that 48-hour window or longer. But yeah, that's to give you a general idea.
Right. So I realize that you use peaceful protests, social media, you write letters to the editor, and you use petitions as advocacy tools. So important to heighten awareness and advocate for these people. So can you describe one advocacy win that actually changed the behavior in a community or a situation? And how did that win make it easier for a girl to report abuse?
Yes, so this is an interesting question, a very good one too. But the truth is that our advocacy arm is very much still a developing part of the organization since we started. And while we have done a few things, and I can delve into one that I would say has been successful. I mean, apart from, we have done a peaceful protest at Emancipation Park, for example, before, with some of the girls coming out, holding up their placards. We did that in partnership with another organization, and we were coming out against gender-based violence, and it was around that time of the year, and that was just a good opportunity for girls. We've been part of a silent march that was actually led by Pursued International, which is another one of our organizations under the Abigail arm or umbrella. And yes, and so that was one that was against human trafficking, and that was actually that march is actually initiated by A21, which is Christine Kane. Christine Kane is a world-renowned Christian minister and founder of A21. So we've, but they allow for those protests to take place in different countries as long as you've come in partnership with them, you learn what to do. So we've done that, we've supported that. But in the most recent time, and what I think would have been our most successful one, because it's still ongoing, is post-Hurricane Melissa, which happened in October. Again, we came alongside Pursued International because we recognize that after the hurricane and after any disaster, those who are very vulnerable end up becoming even more vulnerable after a disaster, and need special attention paid to that fact. They will need even more measures put in place to keep them safe, so that children and women, and particularly single mothers who don't have all the resources and all of that support to even physically protect themselves. Right. Those are people that we really need to be taking care of. When you hear stories of what happens in shelters after such disasters, again, it's the women and the children who are most at risk. Things like them being violated and raped, and all these different things happen in those spaces under those circumstances. And so we created a campaign online that really got quite a bit of traction and was shared quite widely. And so we knew that this was good. This was a good sign. We encouraged, we gave a lot of information as well for what could be done and what people needed to pay attention to, especially for those who wanted to be going into the communities that were affected. We advised them on things like making sure that they were branded, so that we wouldn't also be having the situation where those who are appearing to help are actually coming in and victimizing, and worse, recruiting for trafficking. Oh boy. Because that was also something that, the research has shown you has happened and could easily happen. So we wanted our people and our government to be very intentional about protecting those who are at risk of those things. And so we actually are still in the process of writing a letter to the government with again, very detailed suggestions that are evidence-based and, coming out of journals from overseas that have had to deal with these same issues. Again, just so that as we are approaching another hurricane season, that we can be even more equipped to make sure that, victimization is as mitigated as possible. So I would say that has been a success, even though success can be measured at different levels, right? So it has been a success in terms of visibility and increasing awareness. But as far as changing behavior, that is still an ongoing process. That's still something that we believe will probably take years. But I think that even little things that we are hoping will be implemented, as I said, to mitigate the issues, we are still pursuing that, and hopeful that even as we approach the next hurricane season, we will see some of those measures that we are suggesting implemented.
So, Steph, I know that you have been quoted as saying we have to reprogram our culture and stop turning a blind eye. You spoke about defining success in terms of the message going out, but we know that change is a very slow process, and you just have to keep chipping away at it. So if our listeners today wanted to move from being concerned to take action, but not sure where they would fit, whether it should be a sponsor, a volunteer, or becoming a mentor. What questions should they ask themselves? And then after that, what's the first step that you'd have them take before this podcast ends?
Yes. The question they should ask themselves is, am I willing to do whatever it takes to help a victim? Whatever it takes. And I say that they should ask themselves that question because honestly, it varies, and sometimes everything is not documented, or there's not always a formula for, step by step, this is what needs to happen. I mean, we can have a general sense, yes, but we also have to have a particular attitude and mindset of just being willing to avail ourselves, like Christ has shown us, that whatever it takes to help this person that has some one way or another come into your life. They have come into your midst. And some of us are not only waiting for people like that to come into our life, we're seeking them. I mean, I certainly know, for me and what I believe God has impressed on my heart, he's called me to seek them out, and there's something I've held on to that the Lord has also I think just shared with me. It is that they are hiding in plain sight, that we're looking at each other, you and I right now, and we could have been victims at a point in our lives. And so, it's really to ask yourself, how much do you care? How much do you really care about what is happening in our society, about where girls are misled, they are misguided, they are abused horrendously, How much do we actually care? And then now to look within our own sphere, whether at our churches or in the workplace or in our communities where we live, to look within those spaces and to actually reach out in some way. It can be a conversation, it can be just to avail yourself, so they know that you can always come and speak to me. If anything is happening to you, you can come and speak to me. No, I will admit it does come with sacrifice, and it is not always comfortable. And it comes at the sacrifice of there are many sacrifices that can be involved in this type of venture, but it comes at the sacrifice of also being emotionally vested and being disappointed. The people who have gone through these different things often have they have a lot of issues, personality issues, behavioral issues, lots of issues. And so it's not going to be a comfortable type of relationship always. You may have a good experience as well. You just never know. But I'm just making them aware that those are all the things. But I would say that's the first thing, to really look within yourself and ask if you're willing to do whatever it takes. And of course, within reason and within capacity. I'm not encouraging anybody to go out and try to save the world, or try to completely stress themselves out, to do something that they are not equipped to do. But within your ability and of course, as long as you're willing to extend yourself a bit, that's important. And then from there, it's to seek out the resources, like Girls First, who can then either pretty much take on that case and now point them in the direction that they may need to go, or we can help you if you want to continue kind of helping this person or people, we can come alongside you and support you in that process, so
how best to contact you?
The best way would be via email. So girlsfirstja@gmail.com. That would be the best way. We also tend to have a lot of our communication through Instagram. I mean, that's just the way it has worked for us. So Instagram as well is another avenue that people reach out to us. But yeah, I would say once you're reaching out to us by email, I mean, we can take it from there,
Okay. So I have kind of steered this conversation, but is there anything that you would want our listeners or audience to know?
Just to reiterate on the last point that we were just talking about, when I first started helping in this way, I didn't know what I was doing. I did not have much to offer either. I was in my early 20s and just really getting myself started in life. I didn't have no whole heap of money to help either. But I could start off, like I said, with that first young lady who is like the genesis of Girls First, by being somebody she could talk to. I remember inviting her to Kingston and we went to Devon House just to chill out.
Oh.
I've taken her to Port Royal. I've hung out with her. We've hung out. We've just talked, and that has helped her to restore the dignity that we're talking about. And what I'm sure Robert also mentioned. People just need to be reminded that they're a person. They're humans, especially when they have been abused. And many people go through a feeling of being completely worthless, no value, after they have faced the levels of abuse that we're talking about here. They don't actually feel like a person anymore. So when you actually show love and care, and you can find things that you both laugh about, and then eventually I was able to now invite her into spaces, because shortly after Girls First was formed, and then Girls First now had girls clubs. And so now I had a space to invite these potential, victims or those who had already been victimized. Now they had a space, and then now they are also engaging with each other and supporting each other and helping each other. I remember one time with my girls club girls, we went to Emancipation Park again, and we had a prayer partner fun day. So that goes back to ways that I bring in, what I know has restored me as a Christian, like prayer, so that was an opportunity for them to pair up with each other and pray for each other, and then they develop friendships. And then, of course, with my background in the film and arts and all of that, I recruit girls to be involved, those who show that same interest and have that same talent. They get to be part of these things, which is also like an outlet for them, and yeah, you just would be surprised how much you have to offer those who have been at risk of these things, just by virtue of how you have lived your life, and the communities that you are part of and the activities that you take part in. These are all avenues that they can also be invited into, that could be absolutely life transforming for them. So yeah, hopefully that makes it more I was saying hopefully that makes it seem a lot easier for others to do what I've been doing.
I was just thinking that thanks for coming on is so it doesn't fit the bill, because really what you have done is devoted your life, most of your adult life, to serving, even when you didn't have all that you needed. You still may not have all that you need. However, it was far more than other people have been able to give. So thank you for encouraging us that we don't have to have special training or all of that to make us start, and that there are different ways that we can serve, whether it's making a monetary contribution or volunteering to do something or planning something where the girls can just enjoy, pray together.
Yes, exactly.
Fellowship. Thank you for opening our eyes today, and we hope that you will come back in the future and give us an update.
Absolutely. I would be happy to do that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, we have certainly spent some significant time together, but oh my goodness, how refreshing it is to see that there are people, young people, committing to make a difference in communities, in the lives of those people who are often overlooked, and perhaps people may have determined that they're not going anywhere. But thank you for Robert Dixon and Stephanie Lyle, who are two of many young people making a difference. So I hope you're inspired to connect in some way to make a difference. Because if we're here and all we know, or all the community knows about us, is that if you need your teeth cleaned, you can go up the street, and they don't feel an impact that you're making, maybe you're not truly successful. Here's what I'm asking you to do. Like, subscribe, be impacted, and make a difference. Life is great when we live, grow, and learn together. See you the next time.